we're very, very pleased to have with us Senator Bernie Sanders, who is, over the years, we're very proud to have Bernie as a strong, strong voice for those of us that sometimes need a little help to make it through the week, and sometimes need a little help to make it through the day. So, without further ado, it really needs no introduction. Senator Sanders, thank you.
Let me begin by thanking John and all of the people associated with the Vermont Foodbank. We've worked with them for years. I want to thank Rob Meehan and the folks here at the Chittenden County Emergency Food Shelter, and importantly, the hundreds of other emergency food distribution sites all over this state of Vermont. And that includes community action centers, churches, schools, senior centers, all helping to make sure that people in the state of Vermont do not go hungry. Now, let's be clear. Sometimes I think we have a tendency to forget about it. But the reality is that today we are living in the midst of the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression. What that means is over the last number of years, millions and millions of Americans have fallen from the middle class and into poverty. And these are folks today who are struggling to pay their rent, to pay $4 a gallon for gas in order to get to work, paying their light bills, trying to maybe put aside a few bucks for health care. And in the midst of all of that, they are finding it increasingly difficult to purchase the food that they and their children need. According to the AARP, for example, 9 million Americans aged 50 and older risk going hungry every day, a 79% increase in a decade. But it is not just the elderly, and it's not just children, despite the fact that we have the highest rate of childhood poverty in the industrialized world. What is also happening, I think John and Rob will back me up on this, is that you have a lot of families who are working, people who are working. They're working 40 hours a week. But the reality is that the income that they're bringing in is simply not sufficient to buy the food that they need. Now, clearly, in the midst of this economic crisis, the last thing that we as a government should see happening is cuts to nutrition programs. And as John just mentioned, there has been a cut in the bonus program to TFAP. I worry about other cuts coming down the line. The Senate recently passed a farm bill which includes a number of nutrition programs. The House has yet to do that, and we will see what happens. My fear is that in the Republican House, there may be significant cuts to food stamps and other programs as well. So the bottom line here is that as a nation and as a state, we must not and cannot ignore the reality facing millions and millions of our fellow Americans who are struggling every single day to make sure that their children and their parents are adequately fed. At a time when we are seeing an increasing gap between the very, very wealthy and everybody else, we just cannot turn our backs on people in need, and I will do my best in the lame duck session when I return to Washington to make sure that all nutrition programs are adequately funded. Thank you.